Hello everyone. So today we'll be starting with Unit 4, which is media and advertising. Um, Today, the media and advertising are a pervasive presence in the lives of young people who may or may not have taken the opportunity to seriously reflect upon this fact. This unit offers some ways by which we can begin to think about these. The focus in understanding media is on explaining the strong links between media and technology and media and big business. Media, technology, and media and all this business, the link that is done. It explains how media sets the agenda through influencing our perception on issues about devoting time and attention to, and issues that are neglected or overridden. So it formulates our mind, kinds of sets an agenda, which it agenda has its own agenda, some sort of, that we should either give attention to this or maybe get rid of something other. So that's how media actually works. In understanding advertising, we have focused both on critically analyzing how advertising strategies influence customers, how it influence, as well as demonstrate what goes on into making an advertisement. The significance of a brand, and the need to promote the uniqueness of a product is a key part of the advertising. The chapter identifies the mechanism that advertisements use to appeal the customers and explain how these are powerfully linked to the customer's self-image. They say that if you use this product, that means you are kind of a this person, or if you do not use this product, then your skin will not glow or otherwise. Chapter 6 and 7 foreground the widespread effects of the media and advertising and attempts to connect the issues under discussion to the learner's own life. At the end of media chapter, we expect the learner to recognize the role of big business in the media coverage of events, the way news is selected, you know, is selected for news is selected for coverage, and the explicit and the implicit dimension of that coverage. We use two fictitious news reports to demonstrate fictitious matlab false, okay, matlab that's not true, but they've used it. News reports to demonstrate that there is a seldom that one version of the story or an event. Building on this, we expect the learners to develop the skills required to critically analyze. You have to analyze a newspaper report or TV story through scrutinizing the information provided, as well as understanding the logic behind the exclusion of certain perspectives. In advertising chapter, two fictitious advertisements have been created to systematically take the learners through the techniques of crafting advertising, the technique of crafting an advertisement that appeal to the consumer. The examples focus on the significance of the key terms of brand and brand value that are integral to advertising. These ideas can be strengthened by selecting examples from actual advertisements and structuring similar questions around them. Both chapters conclude by linking their contents to the idea of democracy. Now then we link it that how the both chapters and what was the content in those chapters, how they're linked to democracy. Both emphasize through using examples of local media as well as social advertising how mainstream media and advertisement tend to favor those who have greater financial as well as social resources. So we're going to show that these chapters are going to show that how the local media, mainstream मतलब to put it in between, मतलब main कर देना उस चीज़ को mainstream करना, how to somebody is not like we say mainstream gender justice मतलब, or mainstream it into the like some things which are not given that much attention and others, so you try to make an effort to maybe mainstream that particular thing and give it more importance and bring it more into the notice of others, maybe matlab that is the thing. This point can be reinforced into the classroom by using local examples of media stories, and then we can see it through the local examples of media stories, as well as as well as posing questions about the ways in which advertising is changing what is locally available as well as the what is locally valued, how our thought processes are changing. We're going to study about that, and how the market is changing even the local things which are available to us. Okay, so this is chapter 16. Mm, Understanding media. What is your favorite TV program? What do you like listening to on the radio? Which newspaper magazine do you usually read? Do you surf the net, or what have you found most useful about it? Did you know that there is one word that is often used collectively to refer to radio, TV, newspapers, internet, and several other forms of communication? The word is media. In this chapter, you will read you will read more about media. You will find out what is required to make it work, as well as the ways in which media affects, in which how media affects our lives. Can you think of one way that you've learned from the thing that you've learned from the media this week? And all there's a word like, what do media mean? Media means that it collectively refers to the radio, TV, newspapers, internet, and everything which are the forms matlab tarike of communication. We are here. So there's also this picture. Okay, so there are many pictures, like somebody's talking on a phone. You can see a CCTV. I think it's a CCTV camera, or this is a camera, this is a telephone, this is a notice, sorry, this is a board that you should this advertisement that book your .com and domain registration. This is for websites, and there are many things others also here. People are taking pictures here. There's a concert going on. There, here is a radio program that's going on. Somebody's reading newspaper here, and so on. Everything ranging from a stall at the local fair to the program that you see on TV can be called media. Media is a plural form of the word medium. So media is basically the plural form of medium. Medium मतलब किसी के through, जैसे media is a plural form. Plural मतलब उसके जैसे singular, जैसे एक को हम मतलब एक बच्चा होगा तो हम बोलेंगे वन किड, बट अगर 10-20 बच्चे होंगे तो हम बोलेंगे 20 चिल्ड्रन. ओके, सो दैट्स वी सिंग लाइक सिंगुलर मतलब एक, और एक जन और बहुजन मतलब वो होता है हिंदी में. इफ यू से वेरियस वेज थ्रू विच and describes it the various ways through which communicate in society, because media refers to all the means of communication. Everything ranging from a phone call to the evening news or on TV can be called media. TV, radio, newspapers are all forms, all the forms of media that reaches billions of people or the masses across that country and the world, and thus they are called mass media. Look at the collage on the left and list some various kinds of media that you see. We've already discussed those pictures. Media and technology. Now we are here. It would probably be difficult for you to imagine your life without media, but cable connection and the widespread use of internet is a recent phenomena. These have been around for less than 20 years. The technology that mass media uses keeps changing. Newspapers, televisions, radio can reach millions of people because they use certain technologies. We also tend to discuss newspapers and magazines as a print media, the TV and radio as a electronic media. Why do you think newspapers are called print media? As you read further, you will notice that this naming is related to the different technologies that these media use. The news following photographs will give you a sense of the ways in which technology that mass media has changed over the years and continues to change. Now look at here, an artist's impression of Gutenberg printing the first sheet of the Bible. The first thing that was the first sheet of Bible that was printed. This is how an artist thinks that Gutenberg printing this was the first sheet of Bible. How he printed, how it was printed. Ask an older member of your family about what they used to listen to on the radio when there was no TV around. Find out from them when the first TV came to your area and what was the cable TV introduced, and when was the cable TV introduced. You can ask your fathers, your grandparents, and so on, your friends also. You can discuss this among your classmates that my grandparent was introduced this year. What about your? And then you can have a discussion. How many people in your neighborhood use the internet? List three things that you know about some other parts of the world from watching television. So you can also list out some of the other way of listing watching televisions. You can also do that. Changing technology or machines and making technology more modern helps media to reach more people. It also improves the quality of sound and images that you see. But technology does more than this. It also changes the ways in which we think about our lives. For example, today it is quite difficult for us to think of our lives without television. Television has enabled us to think of ourselves as members of a larger global world. Television images travel huge distances through satellite and cable. This allows us to view news and entertainment channels from other parts of the world. Most of the cartoons that you see on television are mostly from Japan or the United States. We can now be sitting in Chennai or Jammu and can see the images of a storm that has hit the coast of Florida in the United States. Television has brought the world closer. It has brought the world closer to us, means that we can get information on these technologies about other places just by sitting, even when we are sitting at a home. So yeah, media and money, the different technologies that mass media uses are expensive. Just think about the TV studio in which the newspaper in which TV studio in which the news reader sits. It has lights, cameras, sounds, recorders, transmission satellites, etc., all of which cost the money. In a studio, it is not only the news reader who needs to be paid, but also a number of other people who help put the broadcast together. This includes all those who look after the cameras, lights. Also, as you read earlier, the technologies that mass media use uh, keep changing, and so a lot of money is spent on getting the latest technologies. Due to these costs, the mass media needs a great deal of money to do work. As a result, most television channels, newspapers are part of the big business houses. All these setups, all these media require a lot of money, because you see the newsroom. If you would have seen, just example here, these all things cost. These computer setups, all these televisions here, then all this setup, everything, this office has to be maintained, and for this money it takes money. And where do these people get from? The big business houses. The cost to advertise on news channel varies from rupees 500 to rupees 8,000 per second, depending on the popularity of the channel. So it is so expensive to advertise, even for per second. And the cost keep on increasing from the popularity of the channel. So however duration take the whatever is the duration of your advertisement, the cost will go uh, is directly proportional. Matlab, if the duration is high, the cost is going to be high, and it is also directly proportional to the popularity of the channel. If it's a channel, your advertisement is coming on a channel which is very popular, the cost is going to be even more. Then we have, with electronic typewriters, journalism underwent sea change in the 1940s. You can see John L. Bird sits in front of the apparatus which he demonstrated to the Royal Institute. His invention, the televisor, or an early television. So it is an early version of television. Can you list three different products that are advertised during your favorite TV program? So maybe it can be a biscuit ad, maybe it's a cycle ad, or it might be this thing, milk, dairy product ad. Take a newspaper and count the number of advertisement in it. Some people say that newspapers have too many advertisement. Do you think that is true? Sometimes you try to open a newspaper that comes in your house. Just look at the number of advertisements that are there. Okay, we are here. Mass media is constantly thinking of ways to make money. One way which the mass media earns money is by advertising different kinds like cars, chocolates, clothes, mobile phones, etc. You must have noticed the number of advertisements that you have to see while watching your favorite television show. While watching a cricket match on TV, the same advertisements are shown repeatedly between each over. So you are often watching the same image over and over again. As you'll read in this following chapter, advertisements are repeated in the hope that you will go out and buy what is advertising. So you must have experienced it that when you're watching a match, you keep on seeing, whenever there's an advertisement, keep on seeing the same ad again and again, that much that you even remember the lines of the advertisement, and you often tend to even sing it when you're alone, or you must go, or when you're friends, all the friends are singing together the lines of that particular advertisement. Like when we were kids, we used to hear washing powder nirma, doodh si safedi and do, and the song goes on, advertisement song. So this is all the, every generation has different kinds of advertisement that are played along, and they unintentionally, but even if we don't want to learn that song, we are unintentionally we learn it, because it's just keep on repeating, the ad is kept on showing on a loop, that our mind just registers that song. Media and democracy. In a democracy, the media plays a very important place in providing news and discussing events taking place in the country and the world. It is on the basis of this information that citizens can, for example, learn how government works, and often, if they wish to, they can take action on the basis of these news stories. Some of the ways in which they can do so is by writing letters to the concerned ministers, organizing a public protest, starting a signature campaign, asking the government to rethink its program. uh, Given the role that the media plays in providing information, it is important that the information be balanced. The information should be balanced. It shouldn't be leaning towards one side or the other side. We talk about what sides I'm talking about. It should be balanced. It shouldn't be too negative. It shouldn't be too positive. It can be positive, but it should have a balance. That I'll tell you about this balance. We'll talk more on that later. Let us understand what we mean by the balanced media report by reading two versions of the same event given on the next page. Now we'll see it in an example. So you can see that two news articles are given. One is here, one is here. Let's see. Crackdown on polluting rivers. Protesters block roads and disrupt traffic. If see, these two lines are, this is the headline. So here we know that the factories we are talking about are the polluting factories. Matlab they cause pollution, and here it's written closure of factories causes unrest. So here we don't know much about the factories. It's just saying that due to the closure of factories, there has been disturbance amongst the people. Okay, it's just saying that, we don't know anything much more there. Are the above two stories in the two newspapers similar? And if not, why not? And what, in your view, are the similarities and the differences? If you read the story in the News of India, what would you think about the issue? uh okay, so there are they are the same two, these are the two articles written by newspapers about the same event. The fact is that you have you had either read newspapers, you would only know one side of the story. Now if I would have read only this side, then I wouldn't have known the other side of the same story. If you have read the News of India, then if we read only this newspaper, you would have most likely think of the protesters as a nuisance. They're disrupting traffic and continuously polluting the city with their factories leaves polluting the city with their factories leaves you with a bad impression about them. But on the other hand, if you've read the story on the India Daily, yeah, if I would have read this story, then you would know that the protests are because a lot of livelihood will be lost if the factories close, because of the relocation efforts have not been made adequate. Neither of these stories is a balanced report. So balanced report is one that discusses all the points of a view, all the points of view of a particular story, and then leaves it to the reader to make it up their mind. So when you're reporting, you don't have to um, you have to just tell what happened exactly. You don't have to give your opinions. If it's you have to give a balanced report, and at the end of it, it is up to me. I am reading it. Let me decide and make up my point on that, what I think. You're not supposed to, try to push those things into my mind. You just to give me a balanced report is one that discusses all points of view of a particular, it tells me all the points, because people are protesting because they are losing their livelihood. There's the factories are causing so much pollution, so I should know all the sides of the story. That is how what a balanced report is, the one which discusses all the points of a particular story. Here the closure of the factory, or why it was why the factories were closed, why the people were protesting. And then it is up to me finally to make up my mind. Writing a balanced report, however, depends on the media being independent. Now this can only happen when the media is independent, and independent media means that no one should control or influence the coverage of the, no one should control and influence, no one, no one should tell the media what can be included and what not to be included in the news story. And independent media is important in a democracy. As you read above, it is on the basis of the information that the media proves that we take that we take actions as citizens. So it is important that information is reliable. The information has to be reliable and not biased. It shouldn't be favoring any one party or one group. Do you think that it is important to know both sides of the story? Yes, then only we can form our opinion about it. Pretend that you are a journalist for a newspaper and write a balanced story from the two news reports. uh, so you can even write a story and act as you being a journalist. However, the reality of is that media is far from independent. This means because of two reasons. First, uh, is the control that the government has on media. Control government also has when the government pretends either a news item or a scene from a movie or the lyrics or song from being shared with the larger public. This is referred to as um, censorship. So what do you mean by censorship? The government prevents either some part of the portion of a movie or a news items from being shared to the larger public. Then this is called censorship. There has been periods in the industries in the Indian history when the government censored the media. The worst of the hit was the emergency between, so there was an emergency in our country between 1975 and 1977. We'll read about this emergency later in when you reach the next class, maybe like bigger class, maybe 9, 10. What does media and what does TV do to us, and what can we do to it? In many of homes, TV one of is on a lot of times, is on. A lot of times you can see this family watching television, and so is the case of every other Indian family. In many ways, a lot of our impressions about the world around us are formed by what we see on TV. It is like a window on the world. How do you think it influences us? The TV has different types of programs: soaps, operas like Saas Bhi Kabhi Bahu Thi, the game shows like Kaun Banega Crorepati, reality TV like Big Boss, news, sports, cartoons. Before and in between and after each programs are advertisements. Since TV time cost us so much money, only those programs that can attract the maximum number of viewers are shown. Can you think of what programs might think of which of what such programs might we think of what other kinds of things that TV shows, and what does it and what it does not? Does it show more about the lives of rich or the poor? We need to think about what the TV does to us, how it shapes our views to the world, our beliefs. It shapes our views, our beliefs and attitudes and values. We need to realize that it gives us a partial view of the world. While we enjoy our favorite programs, we should always be aware of the large existing world beyond the TV. Large existing world beyond our TV. There's so much happening out there in the TV, out there that TV ignores. So many things are happening which are not shown on TV. A world beyond film stars, celebrities, rich lifestyles, a world that is full of us need to reach out to and respond to in various, and we need to be active viewers who can question whatever see and whatever see here, and while we have to enjoy it too. So we should always also have the this thing, ability and the right to question whatever we are being shown or heard, and we while we even enjoy it. Okay, so that's what it says. While the government does continue to censor films, it does not really censor the media's cover. media's coverage of news. Despite the absence of censorship by the government, most newspapers nowadays still fail to provide a balanced story. The reason for all this is complicated. Persons who research the media house have said that this happens because the business houses control the media. At times, it is the interest of these businesses to focus only on one side of the story. Media's continual need for money and its links to advertising means that it becomes difficult for the media to be reporting against people who give them the advertisement. It is very difficult. If somebody is giving you money, then how can you speak against it? To If somebody is giving you money to run that thing itself, then how can you speak against it? It's basically that. Media is thus no longer considered independent because of its close link to business, and that is the reason it is said that medias are now are not independent, because they get easily influenced by people who give them money. Sponsorship. Besides the above, the media also tends to focus on a particular aspects of the story because they believe this makes the story interesting. Sometimes only one part of the story is shown, and the others are neglected because they know that what will catch more eye of the this thing viewers. Also, if they want to increase public support for an issue, they often do this by focusing on one side of the story, and that is why only one side of the story is focused, setting agendas. The media also plays an important role in deciding what stories to focus on, therefore decides what is newsworthy. For example, the annual function at your school is unlikely to make the news, but if a famous actor is invited as a chief guest, then the media might be interested in covering it by focusing on particular issues. The media influences our thoughts, feelings, actions, and brings those issues to attention. Due to the significant influence it plays on our lives and shaping our thoughts, it is commonly said that the media sets the agenda. Even unknowingly, it does so many things. See, there's this down to earth. This is a magazine, and it has written 5 months after bottled water, soft drinks, hard drinks. Look what the laboratory found. So there's a maybe it's a study on Coca-Cola that's done. Then it's a story on chili pepper. Then women govern better. Odisha flouts constitution. So they're very different articles which are given in the magazine. Very recently, media drew attention to alarming levels of pesticides in cola drink. They published reports that indicated the high levels of pesticides, and that made us aware of the need to regularly monitor these colas um, according to international quality and standards. These because when magazines and media forms, they cover news articles on or any other issue, then internet more focus is given on. For example, the case of coca-cola using pesticides, then a lot of monitoring increase, and international quality and safety standards were looked upon. They did this despite the government's resistance by boldly declaring that colas were unsafe. In covering the story, the media positively helped us to focus on issue that affects our lives, because it affects our life, and one that we might not even been aware of that had it been for media reporting. So it affects our life, and it is equally if they wouldn't have shown it, we wouldn't have been aware, that even after it affecting our lives. So there are several instances when the media fails to focus on issues that are significant in a life. For example, drinking water is a major problem in the country. Every year, thousands of people suffer and die because they do not get safe drinking water. However, we seldom find the media discussing the issue. A well-known Indian generation shows how Fashion Week, in which clothes designers show their new creations to rich people, form the front headlines in all the newspapers. Where several slums were being demolished in Mumbai the very same week, and this was not covered. So fashion weeks are very popular with the media. So fashion houses and everything media, these walks, Lakme Fashion Week and everything, these are very famous amongst the media houses, and they cover because a lot of big people attend these shows. What is the consequence of media setting the agenda by reporting this fashion weeks? And rather, because fashion week and everything, they are sponsored by the same people who even sponsor the media houses. So their money is invested, and they are told from the above authorities to show this, show that, or not, because if they that will get TRP, and the products will be sold, and so how the advertisement goes on. Can you think of an issue that does seem important to you, does not seem to important to you because it is never featured in the media? A lot of things, are not mentioned in the media house, but does not mean that it is not important. For example, the issue of clean drinking water, or nowadays, and so many other things, a road in your local area that every monsoon is damaged, and so many other things like such. As citizens of a democracy, the media has a very important role to play in our lives, because it is through media that we hear in about issues related to the working of the government. The media describes what to focus on, and in this way it sets the agenda. The government can at times prevent the media from publishing a story, and this is called censorship. We've discussed what is called censorship. Nowadays, media's close relation with businessmen often means that a balanced report is difficult to come by. Given this, it is important for us to be aware that the factual information that a news report provides is not complete and can be one-sided. Can be one-sided, often side. We therefore need to analyze the news by asking the following question: what the information I'm learning from this report, what information is not being provided, and from whose point of view is the article being written, whose point of view is being left out, and so on. The print media, see we are here, the print media offers a wide variety of information to suit the taste of different kinds. So anything you need, it's in profile for economy, or maybe investment, mathematics, and about women's issue. Then we have some books on teenage soul. This is very teenage soul and everything. This is for I am that. These are novels. So media provides an entertainment for everybody. In what ways does media play an important role in our democracy? It tells us what is happening around the world, it sets our views, and it gives us information about all the things that are happening. Can you think of a diagram title? What do you understand about the linkage? See, so here is a diagram how it happens. Big business houses, they some own or TV newspapers in, and then they advertise their products, and media promotes through advertisement. Then the readers like you, me, we listen, we hear, we discuss, and then we finally buy the product seen in the mandi, and therefore money flows back in the market chain. That, firstly they invest, and then finally they receive. You've read about the what ways in which media sets an agenda, what kind of effect does it have on the democracy. So you've seen that how democracy's important things are not information about the local issues or important things that happen around, who are not shown on the media, it's not covered. Then how are, and it might even affect our life. Then how are we going to take action? It is because we can't be present at all the times here and there. Somebody has to give us information. You can't be there in Delhi also, you can't be there in Mumbai also, you're one person. As a class project, decide and focus on a particular news. You can do this activity, cut out the stories, and then discuss how the news was particular newspaper was coverage. You can ask the following question: what information is the article providing, what information is it leaving behind and being written, and who's being left out. Here is a glossary which you can publish. Is This refers to newspapers, articles, interviews that are printed in newspapers, magazine. They are printed in newspapers, magazine, and books for the audience to read. Censorship means that the since it is the regulation and laws, and the government has can disallow media from publishing or any certain item. Then broadcast, in this chapter, this used to mean that it is transmitted, मतलब सबको दिखा दिया, or like used to refer to TV or radio programs. Then we have public protest. We've already discussed what it means, and we'll start